How's it going? Hopefully, all is well with you and yours. I'm having a great day, and I'm really glad that you could join me here. I am at the Lake Shastina Golf Resort golf course, and I'm inside the restaurant part, so it's a little bit loud in here today, but there's some people like playing cards or something in the other room where I normally go. So, anyways, I am doing great, and I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you all for joining again. Eric is here, Aaron's here, Daniel, the Jai Daddy's here. Who else is here? Sage. Yay. So, there are a few different topics that I wanted to cover today. Obviously, most of you know that I don't follow the mainstream biblical narrative. Obviously, the Essene teachings aren't in the Bible. They literally, contradict some of the biblical teachings. And yeah, I think it's important to discern what is truth and what is not truth in any text that we read, and that all of these different scrolls, scriptures, texts, ancient texts have truth in it that can be taken out. So as far as the tribulation goes, that, the whole scenario, we can kind of see it unfolding all around us with the depopulation agenda, pestilence being released, 5G, being installed to help pestilence, to help kill us off. Pestilence, famine coming. If you haven't seen many articles, even, it was like the UN, this came out a few years ago, I think, UN warns of a famine of biblical proportions or something. This is it. Yeah, so they've already put, warnings out there. I'm not sure if this is the actual, if anyone wants to read this. UN. What's happening? Okay. UN warns of famine, biblical. The link is too big. Okay. Anyways. Here we go. It's much better. You know how they like to warn us of things that are to come before they happen. Obviously, by warning us, they can rid themselves of some of the karma, right, that comes from what they are doing. And I've explained before that the powers that be, ultimately, Satan's the head of the snake, if you will, the one that's ultimately in control. But he and his minions, work within the parameters of the karmic mechanisms to get the least amount of bad karma for themselves possible. So by warning us ahead of time, they alleviate some of that karma, right? They can say, we warned you and you didn't listen. So how is it our fault that you didn't take our warning and prepare? So that article there, just one of the many different ways that they have already warned us. You've probably seen posts about all the shipping containers not being unloaded. There's videos of people in warehouses saying that they're not supposed to be shipping things out. They're holding things. So a lot of different ways that the supply chain is being kinked on purpose. We've talked before about them, using drought and flooding and different weather manipulation to decrease the growing season, to make it harder for us to grow our own food, to become more independent. All of these things leading to famine. And Wayne, I'm not really sure what you think is a misconception about it, but there are karmic mechanisms at play, and ultimately the mother determines what what is happening under the dome, right? It's the mother's rules. And if we do evil, then there is, a certain amount of evil that is allotted to come back to us. And them warning us definitely does help escape karma. It's about the externalization of the hierarchy. I'm not really sure what you mean there, Waynus. Thank you, Jai Daddy. I appreciate that. This was a t-shirt that I cut up and kind of created myself over here. And I was wearing this outfit in LA, and this person in the store was like asking me if I work there. I'm like, do I look like I'm dressed to work at a store? I don't know what store workers look like around here, but this is definitely not a uniform. A ripped up t-shirt, like, okay. Anyways. So, pestilence, famine, war, the different wars that they are trying to create, getting us to fight against each other for race, for mask versus non-mask, jab versus non-jab, calling it the China virus so people will get upset with China, every way that they can divide and conquer us and basically try to get us riled up to the point where we'll go and actually kill each other rather than, obviously focusing on killing the powers that be. Hopefully I don't get taken off of YouTube for talking about this. But anyways, getting us to do the dirty work for them and kill each other off so that they don't have to do it, right? I've spoken before about how they're not allowed to directly kill per the contract that, Yah set up with Satan. So they get us to do it in various different ways. Humans are the ones spraying the chemtrails, right? Humans are the ones, our tax money is probably the ones paying for all these 5G towers and stuff. As far as the 5G towers go, they're making, service for phones really horrible. Like around my whole house, there's a dead zone. So it's like, I don't have service until I get into town. And then even in town, it's really spotty. So they want to create this problem so that everyone, calls the phone company and complains about the sucky service so that they say, oh, well, we're giving you 5G because it's better coverage, right? Better coverage of our human population so that they can kill us off and hurt us. Yeah. Pestilence, famine, war, death. There are different ways in which they're trying to kill us off. So we have to literally know what our enemy is doing and prepare to survive so that we can actually make it through the tribulation to make a golden age to begin with, right? It's like, unfortunately, nothing is guaranteed. And if we don't survive, if we don't, unite together as a species and actually have a focused dream to manifest a better world for ourselves, it's not going to happen. By default, we're headed towards the New World Order. And I, keep telling people this. It's like, if you want to actually stop the New World Order, you're going to have to stop enslaving other species, or else you are literally perpetuating our species being enslaved as well. It's very simple concept that anybody should be able to understand, right? The species that are farming us aren't fully human, at least. There's obviously a hierarchy with different species in which is not really what I was trying to focus on today. But like I was saying earlier, they work within these karmic mechanisms. So by us farming other species, they can farm us and be the karma for all of those cows, all of those chickens, all of the pigs, all of the other species that humans are enslaving. And, the helpless cows that don't really get their karma. It's like the other species that farm humans will say, okay, well, we'll be the karma for you guys. We'll farm you. We'll call you off. And that is what we are going through right now, the culling. So hopefully you are getting prepared for that. I've been begging people to not only get, extra food, extra water, guns and ammo, but bury these supplies so that they can't be taken from you. I've said many times, at least in the United States, there are laws already on the books that say that, during a time of crisis, an emergency situation, the powers that be, can come in and take your stockpiles, take over your farm, take over like all of these different resources. So the more prepared you are, the more hidden your supplies are, then the better off you're going to be, so that we can survive and then come together and make a golden age. As far as the golden age goes, it's another thing that is also sort of mentioned in the Bible. They talk about how there's this 1,000-year reign of Christ where Satan gets locked up in the bottomless pit, and the world is a paradise for 1,000 years. But it's not just in the Bible. There are many different ancient scriptures that talk about golden ages. A lot of times they talk about really long golden ages, which, just to mention, the earth is only so big. So during a golden age where humans are free and you don't have to go to work and life is grand, people are going to be popping out babies, and each individual person is going to need their own space, right? And after a while, if we're all cramped in like sardines, it's not a golden age anymore. It's miserable. It's like, okay, we're really overcrowded here, and it's nothing like what is going on right now. They say that we're overpopulated, but in reality, it's only the big cities that are overpopulated. They've tried to crunch humans into these big cities and stack everybody on top of each other and put us in little pens. But if you drive through the country, it's just like miles and miles and miles of emptiness. You also see miles and miles and miles of cows, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have their space. I'm just saying if we stopped farming these animals, if we stopped bringing them into existence just so that we could kill them, there'd be a lot more space for humans. But anyways, the point was, a golden age really can't last for 10,000 years. It's just not logistically possible. But 1,000 years is feasible. It is possible. So that is what I promote. The point was, it is talked about in many different cultures. And it's kind of funny because a lot of Christians are like anti-new age. And if you think about their literal Bible, talks about a new age. It talks about a golden age, the millennial reign of Christ, 1,000-year reign. So it's kind of funny. I've mentioned that before to a few people, but yeah, what is new age anyways? Because it kind of seems like a bunch of different spiritual practices all lumped into a group, and if you are involved in any of them, then you're new age, even if maybe you don't even believe in a new age or something. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, hey Shauna, how's it going? Shauna says, I'm moving to Ireland. We already are aware of this stuff and live off the grid. Oh, that's really cool. Well, Gypsy Irish, thank God. So you're leaving your off the grid place where you're at now to go to Ireland to live off grid? That's pretty cool. I don't know. The first thing that always pops to my mind when I think about other countries is, what are their gun laws? I'm very pro guns. I love guns. So I don't know about Ireland, but I'd be interested in knowing, because obviously protecting ourselves against anyone that wants to come at it, is really important. Obviously, if you're in a place where you can't have guns, there are other tools that can be used instead. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. Cowboy Jim says, attractive lady with a mind and discussing current affairs with logic rather than emotions. Nice. Thanks. Welcome. Aaron says, our country is a good example of this. 38 million in our entire country, Canada. More people live in California alone at over 40 million. Wow. That's interesting. I also wonder, though, how much accuracy is to their numbers. Obviously, with COVID, people have seen that they lie about numbers, and they lie about numbers all the time, right? They say the Earth's population is 7 billion. They also say we live on a giant spinning ball, that we evolved from primates and all this other stuff. But that's definitely really interesting. And being in California myself, obviously there is a different, different places. You're going to have different people. In the north where I am, is a lot of conservative, gun-toting, state of Jefferson promoting type, and that is definitely where I'm at. Not stuff that goes down south. Okay. Aaron says we are second to landmass next to Russia. Wow, with a small population still. That is crazy. Also have to wonder with the population sizes, the numbers that they tell us, also how big the land masses are, right? I don't know about you guys, but I personally don't subscribe to any map or model. I know that it's a flat earth, a stationary plane, an enclosed realm. It's not infinite, but it's hard to believe any map without being able to go up and actually see it for ourselves. So it'd be really fun in the golden age to be able to explore, and especially Antarctica. Shauna says, come with, girl. We are trying to unite Ireland. That's pretty interesting. I'm personally not interested in leaving Mount Shasta. The meeting place of heaven and earth is here. It's the root chakra of Mother Earth. And like, a tree, the condition of the root is going to affect the whole tree. So if you want to purify the tree, come to the root and focus on purification of this one point. And then it'll have, an effect on the whole tree that is Mother Earth. So that is why I am at Mount Shasta. The Jai Daddy said, even in New York State, upstate, I have an Adirondack mountain compound in the middle of nowhere. I've seen some pictures from your place. It's really beautiful out there. Shauna says, if you want to use guns, come fight the British in Northern Ireland. Loads of Irish Americans are in America and should be uniting Ireland. Very interesting. I haven't really heard of any of this fighting going on with all of that. But it's always good to see people fighting for their freedom, right? Aaron said, I've been all over Canada and USA, lots of land, and like you said, it's the big cities that are heavily populated. Yeah, they crunch us in like, sardines, if you will, which is not a vegan saying, but you get my point. And it obviously serves multiple purposes, right? No one having any land to actually sustain themselves, not having any land to function, right? Being cramped in just around people all the time. I mean, I'm not anti being around people. It's nice. I find it enjoyable to go to the big cities sometimes, but it's like I would not want to live there. Just not my thing. And you're going to find a lot more corruption when you have all of these humans, on top of each other, and not only just, the bigger population, but the powers that be have promoted corruption in these places, right? Putting all sorts of the most corrupt things, not only just the food that you eat, but the nightclubs, and having, this whole society promoting sexual degeneracy and just loose morals in general. Yeah. Okay. Shauna said, if you are from Ireland, you should be in your own country, not America. I personally say I am American. I was born here. I was raised here. This is my land. My parents aren't migrants. My grandparents aren't migrants. My great-grandparents, I've lived here for generations and generations, and I claim Mount Shasta as my own. Hey, Sonia, how's it going? That's what you said too. Sonia says, hey, doll, just saw a notification on Facebook. How's it going? It is wonderful here. It's actually kind of warm outside for a wintry day. It's getting close to the full moon. I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? So, yeah. Last night I heard a bunch of owls just hooting and I was going to say hooting and hollering, but more like a hooting and hooting back and forth last night. So that was pretty cool. Aaron says, cool at the Jai Daddy. I'm in the country here. Yes. It's really cool for everybody to get off the grid. I personally live 4 or 5 miles out of town myself. And I'm very thankful for that. Aaron said, I rather live away from the city, just visit them. Yes, yes. There are often, like I do, like I was saying, like to go visit, especially because often in the big cities, you're going to find like a ton of vegan restaurants. When I went to LA, there was like over 100 fully vegan restaurants. I was like, oh my gosh, how can anybody here not be vegan? Like, you guys are so spoiled. It's ridiculous. Unfortunately, they do fluoridate their water. Obviously, it's easier to keep control of a population that big by fluoridating them heavily, and not just the fluoride, but so many other agendas serve to make us docile, right? Even just pushing pornography. That's like the first thing that comes to mind, and how over-sexualized they have made everybody. Animals in the wild that aren't broken, more like have sex on, a female has a cycle, right? And during one time of the month, it's like a bleeding time. And on the other side of the month, it's like, okay, let's, have a baby, okay? And it's like, if we were more in tune with these natural cycles, everything would be better. We wouldn't be so over-sexualized. And I think that sex is definitely reprogramming humans about sex and how we should view it, how we should interact with one another. The whole experience, I really think, needs to be changed in the programming that we have in society, and that's something that we can do during the golden age. Obviously, getting pornography completely off, the powers that be can easily turn off pornography, turn off child pornography, whatever they want. But the purpose isn't to keep it off, right? Not only are they pedophiles, but it's like they're corruptors of humans. That's what they're ultimately contracted to do by being on Team Satan. So, hey Raven, how's it going? Aaron says it's 58 degrees here in southern Ontario, Canada. Very warm for this time of year. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, there are some good vegan restaurants now in Hamilton, closest larger city to you. How far would that be away? I think that, it depends if I go north or south. Yeah, that was proper. If I go south in Reading, there are. I think it's just one vegan restaurant, and I think, let me actually just see how far away is it. An hour and 10 minutes to get down to Reading, or to get up to Ashland, Oregon, it's about an hour and 7 minutes. So either way, I have to travel an hour out of my way to get to a fully vegan restaurant when I live at the meeting place of heaven and earth. It's like, what in the world? This is definitely ridiculous. Okay, so Raven said, hello from LA. Congrats on the fasting journeys. Yes, thank you. I do want to talk about the fast because I'm going to be doing a 48-hour dry fast this week, starting technically Friday at 12 a.m. Mount Shasta time, of course. So it's kind of like, Thursday night, Friday morning at 12 at midnight. And some people talking about really loud beside me. Okay. 48-hour dry fast. I want to try to push myself, but push you guys more. Doing a 24-hour dry fast is really kind of just, sticking your toe in the water and getting used to it. You're not really going to have the best effects if you don't go to a 2 or even a 3-day dry fast. And depending on your, what you have going on in your body, what you're trying to heal, depending on the severity of whatever disease is ailing you, you're obviously going to need a different protocol, different amount of fasting. So 48-hour dry fast starting Friday morning at 12 a.m. PST, and then going to Sunday morning. Hopefully you will join me wherever you are. Even if you can't make it 48 hours, just try to make it, as long as you can. And if you can't dry fast, then do a juice fast, do raw vegan fruitarian, do vegan, whatever step you need to take in the right direction. Jai Daddy says, yes, Raven, I'm fasting now. 1 week. That is awesome. You said not dry, though, zero food. That is still really impressive. My longest so far is 8 days. So how long do you plan on continuing still, or are you going to be ending it soon? I personally want to do a longer dry fast or a longer wet fast this winter, but being that dry fasting is like 3 times as effective as water fasting, it kind of like I would rather do a shorter amount of dry fasting and rip it off like a band-aid than torture myself even longer. And I kind of have found that in my personal experience, dry fasting is actually a little bit easier than water fasting. It's like you're not really craving food so much, you start craving water, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier. And obviously it gets easier over time the more that you do it. So Aaron says 50 minutes away from me. Okay, so that's about as far as I have to go to, pretty much. Yeah. Aaron says, I intermittent fasted today until 2 p.m. That's awesome. I think I haven't eaten anything today still, so yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Faith. How's it going? Faith says, hey, Queen, I hope you're doing well. I am doing great. Thank you. Jai Daddy says, ending at 8 days this time. My record is 15. Yes, that's very impressive. I'm definitely impressed by anybody's willpower to go without, and the spiritual world is as well. It's a way to heal your mind, body, and soul by not being a clown. This keeps coming up that people think that the way to heal themselves is like to consume pee, to put it on their face, to like do all of this piss play, the pissy breath brigade. I wonder, do they share this remedy with their children? Like, I don't know. I'd be highly disturbed if I walked into my child. I don't have a child, but to my child, drinking their urine. So like, how could you as a parent be doing that? And then, I don't know. Anyways, just purify your diet. You don't have to be a clown, okay? It'll cure everything. It's just amazing. I'm really passionate about speaking out against clownery, like humans being clowns. So wherever I see different agendas of humans being clowns, it's like I feel the need to speak up and like do whatever I can to wake humans up, even if people think that I'm, obsessive about these things. It's like, well, apparently the truther community hasn't woken up, so I need to keep hanging on about it. Aaron says, don't drink pee. Exactly. Even in a survival situation. I can't stay long today, but I did want to talk about another topic, which is actually your hair. I've been meaning to share with you. A while ago, I was doing some research about I guess this has been an ongoing thing for a while. I stopped using like hair products a while ago. I don't want to be putting chemicals into my hair, and hair is naturally cleaning itself. If you think of like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, she didn't have hair products. Neither of them did, obviously. Your hair is self-cleaning. All you need to do is use water. So not only is your hair self-cleaning, but it's your spiritual antenna, right? I actually haven't cut my hair since before I came to Mount Shasta, which was 4 or 5 years ago, and it hasn't really grown past this. So it's my firm belief that your hair grows to a place where it's supposed to, and then stops naturally. And like I'm saying, it's your spiritual antenna. It connects you to the spiritual world. So I think that males and females should grow their hair out. I wanted to read from this article, quantumbalancing.com. I'll leave the link in the chat. It says, the bones in the forehead are porous and function to transmit light to the pineal gland, which affects brain activity as well as thyroid and sexual hormones. Cutting bangs, which cover the forehead, impedes this process. When Genghis Khan conquered China, he conquered the Chinese to be a very wise he considered the Chinese to be a very wise, intelligent people who would not allow themselves to be subjugated. He therefore required all women in the country to cut her hair and wear bangs, because he knew this would serve to keep them timid and more easily controlled. As whole tribes or societies were conquered, cut hair became so prevalent that the importance of hair was lost after a few generations, and hairstyles and fashion grew to be the focus. This is a quote from a yogi. When the hair on your head is allowed to attain its full mature length, then the phosphorus, calcium, and vitamin D are all produced and enter the lymphatic fluid and eventually the spinal fluid through the two ducts on the top of the brain. This ionic change creates more efficient memory and leads to greater physical energy, improved stamina, and patience. The yogi explained that if you choose to cut your hair, you not only lose this extra energy and nourishment, but your body must then provide a great amount of vital energy and nutrients to continually regrow the missing hair. I'm sure that happens with all of the other hair too. I still shave my legs and stuff. Like, I'm not interested in going completely back to the Garden of Eden style in that manner. But yeah. Interesting either way. In addition, hairs are the antennas that gather and channel the sun energy or prana to the frontal lobes, the part of the brain you use for meditation and visualization. These antennas act as conduits to bring you greater quantities of subtle cosmic energy. It takes approximately 3 years from the last time your hair was cut for new antennas to form at the tips of the hair. So let me put this link in the live chat because it has more information that spiritual nature of hair. It also talks about how these just exited out of it. It talks about how these hunters, like human hunters hunting each other. Let me just read it here. They during the Vietnam War, special forces in the War Department had sent undercover experts to comb American Indian reservations looking for talented scouts, for tough young men trained to move stealthily through rough terrain. They were especially looking for men with outstanding, almost supernatural tracking abilities. Before being approached, these carefully selected men were extensively documented as experts in tracking and survival. So with the usual enticements, the Indians were enlisted. Once they were enlisted, an amazing thing happened. Whatever talent and skills they had possessed on the reservation seemed to mysteriously disappear as recruit after recruit failed to perform as expected in the field. And they actually, when questioned about their failure to perform as expected, the older recruits replied consistently that when they received their required military haircuts, they could no longer sense the enemy. They could no longer access a sixth sense. Their intuition was no longer reliable. They couldn't read subtle signs as well or access subtle extrasensory information. So that's really, really cool. If I do say so myself, I would definitely suggest checking that out. Hey, 40s, how's it going? Hello there. Do you agree to whether or not corporations and manipulative individuals have been inducing unhealthy trends and mentalities through social media? Absolutely. Yes. Yes. For as long as social media has existed, and even before then, right? Even in, newspapers and other forms of media before we had the internet, they have been programming us with any which way that they can turn us into clowns and make us the worst versions of ourselves possible, promote unhealthy lifestyles. They do that. So, hey, Renee, how's it going? Renee says, hey, Queenie, what's up? I got a question for you. Is it truth that the fasting, it has anything to do with food and it's just stop talking? Interesting. There are some people that abstain from speaking. I personally haven't done that, obviously. I've heard that they get mental and spiritual benefits from abstaining from speaking, but it's not really the pathway that I promote. I promote purifying from food personally, and I haven't really looked too much into that, Renee, but I have heard people talking about it before a little bit. Aaron says Chewbacca legs. Forniastope says definitely going to give it a read. It seems thought-provoking. It definitely is. I'm going to, my future children are going to have a lot of new family traditions. My future son's going to have his hair grown out. He's going to be intact, not jabbed, homeschooled, all of that, especially vegan. I also wanted to mention about the hair. So many of us, especially females, the hairbrush that you use, having different, how it can create static. All of these energies can mess up your hair. I was reading about people using bamboo brushes. So I actually ordered this. I got a comb like this. They have like brushes, but the bristles themselves were bamboo, but it went into like a plastic, back part. So I didn't want any of that. I wanted something that wouldn't be messing with the energies in my hair. So I've been using this, and it also not only helps, helps with frizz. It helps with a lot of things, but it can help, it helps pull the oils in your hair down through, through the rest of your hair. And the more, detangled your hair, the more clear the antenna, the message, if you will, is going to be. As I have curly tangled up hair right now. Flat Earth is unstoppable. No, I can't do that. I'm in a restaurant right now. All right, I'm actually getting ready to head out of here. I have some things to do, unfortunately, but I will definitely be back on Sunday at noon. Fornias says, have you tried the complete works of Swami? I have not even heard of this person before, nor their complete works. So no, I have not. Aaron says, monks take a vow of silence, but it's usually for years. Yes, they do. Unfortunately, a lot of the monasteries, so they're called, just like every other religious group, every other organization being infiltrated and corrupted by inverts at the top, and, twisting people's teachings. And yeah. The Giant Daddy said, I wrote that comment before you spoke on it. That's awesome. As a USMC. Oh, there it is. Okay. What the comment was, native trackers kept long hair. The military made them cut it off, and they lost their tracking ability. Yes, absolutely. We keep a sika, hair antenna. Yes. All right, guys. I actually, like I said, I have to get out of here, but I will be back on Sunday at noon. Please remember, if you are not in the dry fasting community on Facebook, join that. I'll put a link in the comment section really quick. Dry fasting community. It's actually facebook.com/group/dry fasting community. So it makes a lot of dry fasting community. Okay, so dry fasting Friday at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. PST, Friday morning to Sunday morning. Join me for a dry fast. And then on Sunday afternoon, I will join you here again. So until then, I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it as always, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Have a wonderful week. May God and the Goddess bless you.